Yeah, that's right, Monica. People are definitely getting ready for this storm that's hitting tomorrow. So the good news, if you wish for a white Thanksgiving and you live in the Sierra, you're likely going to get that. The bad news is that it's going to cause a whole lot of delays. We're actually right in front of I-80 right now, as you can see behind me. Not a lot of traffic on here right now, but over the next few days, there will be thousands of motorists heading up and down this freeway trying to get to their Thanksgiving destination. So with that heavy snow that Monica was just talking about coming in, factored in with the traveling, there's going to be a lot of delays. And of course, there's a lot of safety precautions that motorists should consider before getting in their vehicles. We actually had a chance to catch up with the fire captain here in Colfax this evening, and this is what he had to say about it.
Big thing that we're anticipating, especially this being the first major winter storm this season, and that coupled with it being a holiday travel weekend, there's going to be a large number of motorists on the road. So that coupled with folks that aren't necessarily used to driving in that inclement weather and is not taking the appropriate measures to even be capable of driving in the snow, i.e. chains, and like I said, just planning your trips out so people aren't rushed.
So I want you guys to keep some things in mind if you're taking your vehicle out. These are three very important things to consider. The first thing is to check your wiper blades. You need to make sure that you inspect your wiper blades. If they are old and dry, they will start skipping on the window. Another thing you want to make sure that you have in check is the level of your antifreeze. You know, make sure to check the gravity level of the antifreeze, and it will tell you if the antifreeze is good enough condition for freezing weather. So make sure the antifreeze is where it needs to be and a level wise and condition wise. And the last thing, of course, make sure you bring an emergency kit. Traffic is going to be very bad, as you can imagine. And if you have kids in the car, maybe bring some games for them. You want to keep the kids entertained, hot meals, and of course, have your chains on your vehicles as well. If you do have chains on your vehicles, it is wise not to travel over 30 miles per hour, but make sure you have that emergency kit there and plenty of food because you don't know how long you may be delayed.
Some good tips there. Our Kevin John live for us in Colfax tonight. We thank you, sir.